Let us explore, why did great luminaries do this? Why did great luminaries live in the present moment? Oh, wrong button. Let's try that again. There we go. Because they had to. Most luminaries, the great luminaries, were neurodivergent, which means the only way they could cope with their unusual central nervous systems was to go with the flow wherever it took them. Let us take, for example, ADHD, which I'm having trouble typing. ADHD is not a disorder. It is not a fancy term to justify laziness. It is not the product of video games or sugary breakfast foods. ADHD is a neurotype. There are profound differences in the central nervous system of someone who is neurodivergent in contrast to someone who is neurotypical. Someone with ADHD literally cannot do something unless their dopamine or their cortisol is fully engaged. So it is as if evolution has used the components of anxiety to keep people with ADHD alive. It's the only way they get anything done. Can it rob their peace? Yes. Can it cause ancillary health challenges and comorbidities? Oh, hell yes. But as someone much more prolific than myself once said, you got to play the cards you were dealt. Someone with both autism and ADHD, as well as all the comorbidities, I have firsthand experience with that. So if someone with ADHD has difficulty with focus, it's not because they're lazy, it's not because they're weak-minded, it's because their central nervous system is not finding the topic at hand compelling. So the thing is we have a choice. Do we contrive and force ourselves to be someone we're not, or do we go with the flow? There are two ways to go with the flow. We can use scattered spontaneity. You know, like we had the way we act after we power down 3 consecutive energy drinks, or we can move from centered spontaneity, the way we flow after a really helpful mindfulness meditation session. Clearly, I recommend the second. That's how we cope with ADHD. That's how we cope with autism. We cultivate the centered spontaneity, and then we listen to our body and surf the present moment. And that's how we find the ability to use the immense talents that we have from a place while going with the flow, instead of being like the Big Lebowski, rather by being like the dude. This concludes our opening lesson. So what I'd like to do now is get things moving. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you will not have to. I've done all this to become your neurodivergent guide to Nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. I'm going to take a moment to make a quick edit, if you don't mind. Okay, and let's see. Aha, webcam. Here we go. There we go. A bit of the old asymmetry every now and again. So let us turn to the latest iteration of Easy Mantra Meditation. I get to push the right button now. The contemporary practice of Dzogchen, or Mahamudra, is divided into three categories of Anu Yoga's energy work, Maha Yoga's simile chanting, and Ati Yoga's Sutra Mahamudra. And I think it might be fun if I threw a little button in here. Let's see. Oopsie. TREKCHOD and S. Okay, well, that did not fit. Let's put a little, let's hit insert and find the O with 2 dots over it. So let's go over here and hit this. Still no joy. Okay, let's make these a little smaller and call them 27. And of course that, let's hit 9 and continue. Okay. I guess I should put a comma here as well. Whoops, wrong comma. And one more Tibetan word. Let's put it right here. Well, I'm having trouble spelling. Please bear with me. Wrong button. Whoopsie daisy. Okay. Oh, Togal. Okay, there we go. I'm glad other people spell much better than myself. Excellent. All right. Well, having scared away the last person who was interested, let's continue. I'm going to hit the old... I guess I'm not. I gotta wait for that. So we're going to start with a bit of the old energy work. And let's do that by resting the tip of the... Let's rest the tip of our left index finger upon its thumb and rest our left hand upon its left thigh. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the crown of our head. Let us train in wishing love. In our compassion may we long to free all beings, choices, utterances, and deeds from the tyranny of the survival impulses of hating, craving, and clinging, metaphorically known as the three mental poisons. Let us now continue our journey of empathy from a practical point of view. In all pragmatism, may all liberation of all others be fueled by your reliance upon the Buddhas. Example, instructions, and students described by the metaphor of the three wish-fulfilling jewels. We're now going to chant the 8-syllable synopsis of these 4 pages. If you wish, while I'm doing this, I'm going to perform a geriatric squat thrust, so that I get a splash of dopamine. If you would like a splash of dopamine, you're welcome to join me, but it is not mandatory. Well, that was fun. Delightfully invigorating. One moment, if you please. Splendid. Let us chant Mahayogas. Let's see here. Let us chant Mahayoga's wise similes to better master the impermanence and interdependence comprising the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Please chant with me. All circumstances or lots could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this body or form. All bodies or forms could be as impermanent and interdependent. Oh, that's odd, isn't it? Let's see if we can't fix that. Here we go. All bodies or forms could be as impermanent and interdependent. Oops, here we go. Oh, I guess that's not it. as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light, like a delightfully absorb into this communicational speech. So what we're doing right now is we are chanting wisdom-oriented similes to help us to better master the ideas of impermanence and interdependence that are integral to the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. The Buddha taught that there were four bases of mindfulness, and in this context they would be the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, and the mental. Right now we're on the interpersonal. Please chant with me. Whoopsie. All interpersonal communicational speech could be as impermanent and interdependent as if it could blissfully melt into rainbow light, like a delightfully absorb into this mind. In this fourth portion, in addition to continuing to play with impermanence and interdependence, we're going to demystify the idea of emptiness. All minds could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light, like a delightfully absorb into our vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although tantalizing to the eye, could be not graspable to the hand. Welcome. We've come to the first of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. Let us begin with a brief overview of the 3 phases of Bengali crease counting. The first phase is simply working with our right hand. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We could multiply this by 4 sets for a total of 48 inhalations. To do that, we enter phase 2, working with our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 12 inhalations each. This brings us to the third phase where we work with both hands. We could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger, upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Together let us chant an explanation of the Benzaguru mantra. I invoke teachers on action or meditation in whom view that the Benza Tantra Guru teachers pay my enlightenments and siddhi abilities, who may be mastered by all. So, just as the pendulum of a grandfather clock swings to the left and the right, we're going to swing back and forth between mantra meditation and silent meditation. Personally, I feel it gives me the physical stamina I need to sit and practice. During our inhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite the essential instructions for meditation and mindfulness. During the exhalation, we're going to do 2 things simultaneously. We're going to physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 12-syllable mantra 5 times per breath for a total of 5 breaths. Om Ahum Minzu Guru Mimaziri Hung 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 Om Ahum Minzu Guru Mimaziri Hung. We now shift gears from mantra meditation to silent meditation. Oh, look at this. Let's see, here we go. So, how do we practice mindfulness and meditation? Totally easy. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. We can notice all sorts of stuff: the external, the internal, the physical, the mental, the pleasurable, the painful, the interesting, the boring, the glorious, and even the grotesque. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are similarly wired to physically relax and mentally release whatever it is that we notice during our previous inhalation. Such that what we've noticed could fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less defining, and even less permanent. And so we see, simply by playing with mindfulness and meditation, we train in the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path deep familiarization with the literal impermanence that supports letting go. So together as a team, let us practice right now. But first, allow me to remind you, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Here we go. Good evening. Let me do a quick copy real quick. Welcome to the second of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. When we rest the great knuckle, the great knuckle, the base of our right ring finger, upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. We gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the navel region of our mid-navel. Mid-abdomen. That's the word I was looking for. So here's how we play with the mantra meditation. During the inhalation, we silently and mentally recite the essential instructions for meditation and mindfulness. During the exhalation, we physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 12-syllable mantra 5 times per breath for I forgot to push the right button here. For a total of 4 breaths. Om Mahum Minza Guru Mima Ziri Hum. 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 We now switch gears from mantra meditation to silent meditation. Each time we silently and let's see here. Okay. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are similarly wired to physically relax and mentally release whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation. Come, let us practice right now. Welcome to the third of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up, in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the heart region of our chest. Now for a bit of the old, that's what I'm looking for. Mantra meditation. That's the word I'm looking for. During our inhalation, we silently and mentally recite the essential instructions for mindfulness and meditation. During the exhalation, we physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 12-syllable mantra 5 times per breath for a total of 4 breaths. Om Ahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hun. 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 Let's switch gears from mantra meditation to silent meditation. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are wired to physically relax and mentally release what we noticed during our previous inhalation, as if that which we noticed was as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky in a bright and beautiful cloudless morn. Doing so is our training in the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the deep familiarization with the figurative emptiness that supports our mental release, all thanks to our easy practice of mindfulness and meditation. Together, let us practice right now. Welcome to the fourth of fifth sets of mindful crease counting meditations. Now, this is kind of tricky. We're going to, this time, instead of resting one knuckle, we're going to rest all four knuckles of our right hand upon the corresponding fingertips of our left hand, palms up in our lap. Excuse me. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the region of our throat that feels as if it tightens just before we cry. During our inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the essential instructions of mindfulness and meditation. During our exhalation, we can do two things simultaneously. We can physically relax as best we can, while striving to chant this 12-syllable mantra 5 times per breath for a total of 4 breaths. Om Ahum Benzo Guru Mema Ziri Hung. 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 Let us shift gears from mantra meditation to silent meditation. We shall also explore the idea of non-duality. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice many things. We can notice perceptions, emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginations. We can notice dualities. We can notice the external and the internal, the physical and the mental, the pleasurable and the painful, the interesting and the boring, the glorious and the grotesque. I think I lost count there a little bit. Anyway, let's continue. But the primary duality taught by the Buddha was the duality of that of all these things we notice, some we desire and some we dread. On a subtler level, we could also notice that we resist. We resist the absence, the actual or potential absence of what we desire, and we also resist the actual or potential presence of what we dread. So, the great irony is this. Every time we breathe in, we are wired to notice dualities. And every time we relax, every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are also wired to physically relax and mentally release what we noticed during our inhalation, whether that which we noticed was a perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, imagination, desire, or dread. And we're able to let go of them. That doesn't mean they stop existing. It simply means we're a little bit less neurotic about it, a little bit less controlling, a little bit less frenzied. Now together let us practice right now. Excuse me. Oh yes, there's one thing I forgot to mention. All this talk about letting go of dualities could sound like someone's trying to coerce us into being a doormat. But here's the great irony. The more we practice mindfulness and meditation, the more we cannot help but notice, but train in the sixth fold of the Buddha's eightfold path. The more that we notice our choices, utterances, and deeds flowing from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, which should not be confused with the scattered spontaneity we might experience after powering down 3 consecutive energy drinks. Rather, the centered spontaneity is the effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. Yeah, I think this is a little tough to read, so I'll probably change the highlighter. Whoops, wrong one. Let's try that again. Okay, let's move on to the 5th of 5 sets of mindful crease counting meditations. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the crown region of our head. So here's how mantra meditation works. During our inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the essential instructions for mindfulness and meditation. During our exhalation, we can do two things simultaneously. We can physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 12-syllable mantra 5 times per breath for 4 consecutive breaths. Om Mahum Zuguru Mimaziri Hung 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 Om Mahum Zuguru Mimaziri Hung. Each time we silently, oh yes, here we go. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. What could that suckiness look like? It looks like being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. And when people with using this mindset, trying to meditate, more often than not, instead of meditating, they practice focus and analysis, exhausting our prefrontal cortex and triggering their amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. Like a cat whose head is now, like a curious cat whose head is stuck inside a empty Kleenex box. There is a way out. Mindfulness and meditation. One moment, if you please. Okay, so each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, fleetingly notice mind's antics. And each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are also wired to physically relax and mentally release that which we noticed during our previous inhalation. There are 3 benefits to doing this. Number 1, we calm our amygdala's anxiety and aggression. 2, reduce the degree to which our anxiety and aggression are able to control our choices and our utterances and our deeds. And number 3, we stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, this tissue here that kind of looks like a squished letter C, this tissue that functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, which functions as the root of both compassion as well as love. This is exactly why the late Tulku Thondup Rinpoche insisted that the highest love was not the flaccid and contrived product of analysis and focus. Au contraire. He insisted that the highest love is a spontaneous and uncontrived byproduct of simply noticing and releasing. How important is this? Loving kindness constitutes 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, ranging from kind intention, kind communication, kind conduct to commerce, both cooperative and kind. All this flows effortlessly from our practice of mindfulness and meditation. Now, that doesn't mean we still won't feel the full spectrum of emotions, from the glorious to the grotesque. It simply means we will not be controlled by those emotions. Freedom from the tyranny of painful emotions is just one facet of the liberation afforded to us by training upon the Buddha's path. Together, let us practice mindfulness and meditation right now. This is the final practice of tonight, final meditation of tonight's live stream, so let's very much make the best of it. Oh, I'm confused. There we go. Okay. Whoops. Okay, let's try that again. All right. Thank you for your patience. All right, let's chant Mahayoga's kind similes to better master the loving kindness of the second through fifth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May each mind of each being know me as peacefully enlightened as the mind of a real or imagined Buddha symbolized by ethically one certain zero Bisham mantra. May all relationships, communication, or speech of all beings now be as joyfully loving as a real or imagined Buddha's speech, symbolized by a multisyllabic mantra. May all bodies or forms of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health represented by Buddha's statuary, depicting the blissful body of a real or imagined yidam, an archetype of enlightenment such as Kuntu Zangpo Yampiam. Let us lovingly wish that all beings be liberated from the tyranny of others. Sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia, classism, exploitation, fascism, jingoism, genocide, speciesism, and ecocide. May each circumstance or lot of each being now have the safety and good fortune or boon, as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land or vati. One moment. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land or vati, depicted in Buddhist paintings. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You can even help support this channel. In approximately 12.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's morning meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.